hey, YouTube, I'm back. Hey, YouTube, I'm back. Hey, YouTube. No, let me not get to y'all too hype. I don't know if I'm fully back, but I've been itching to get back behind a microphone because Kiss and Tell is on hiatus right now. Indefinite, kind of, sort of. Jace has given me a date, but we are still fine-tuning some things because we want to make sure that we are delivering you all a quality product. We want the direction of the brand and the podcast to go in a specific way, and so we're ironing out some logistics. We're not totally done, okay? And because I've been itching to get back, I've actually had this set up in my living room, all these lights in the backdrop and the nice chair and stuff for almost 2 years now. There's been a lot going on, so I haven't been able to come talk to y'all like I wanted to. Just a lot, just in my own head. Y'all know how it gets sometimes in my own head. And so, yeah. But in the meantime, on the podcast front, I was featured on the Archie Jay Experience. Go check it out. I've been encouraging everyone, whether you have the pleasure of knowing me in real life or you know me through my platforms, go check out my interview that I did. He hosts a show surrounding millennial conversations. The theme of my episode was finding your voice, and I really enjoyed myself. Archie is an extremely talented host. We're both Midwesterners. He's from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm from Chicago. And we really just knocked it out the park. And this, I might venture to say, go out on a limb and say that this is my most transparent interview that I've done. I got to talking, oh yes. So check that out. I'll include the links in the description box. I believe that the Archie Jay, J-A-Y, Archie Jay Experience is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But like I said, I'll include the links. Yesterday, I had the esteemed pleasure to go to a media screening of the Avengers. Now, before you turn my video off, just know that I am not a girl that's into spoilers, so you don't ever have to worry about me spoiling anything for you. I'm not going to spoil the Avengers. But what I will say is someone like myself who's not fully invested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this movie still gets 10s across the board for me. Now, I've seen, a couple of the Doctor Strange movies on Netflix. I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, like a few of those up on Netflix and things. And of course, I've seen Black Panther, but I'm not someone who is 100%, I'm not rushing to the theater. I did get teary-eyed at one point, which means if you do happen to be the super fan that I'm talking about who is knee-deep into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you're going to cry. For sure, you're going to cry. What I liked about this movie is they had a lot of good metaphors. The comedy was good and on point, and just the storyline was so good. This is one of those movies where you're definitely going to have to dump that bladder before you go, honey. There will be no bathroom breaks. The movie is like 3 hours and some change, I believe, and this is how you know a movie is good. When a movie is that obnoxiously long and you don't look down to glance at the time not once, or you don't look down to check your phone and your text not once, the movie sucks you in and lets you out when they're ready for you to be let out. Now, one thing I did notice, which has been reported on, so this is not a spoiler, is that there's no like teaser. Like typically at the end of Marvel films, when the credits are done rolling, there's like a teaser for the next one, and they didn't include one. But I'm encouraging everyone, and I saw y'all little hating messages where y'all bought y'all tickets 2-3 weeks in advance, and you go see it this weekend. Go see it, tell a friend. It gets 10s for me. It was just so well done. Congratulations, Marvel. So when I got home, I checked out the Being Mary Jane finale, and still haven't formed an opinion. I'm still kind of all over the place with it, mainly because I felt like it was all over the place. I felt like it was rushed. I have been waiting too long, but the upside is I'm really glad that we get a chance to close the Mary Jane chapter. I've been such a fan of this show since its inception, but to me personally, the last good season of Being Mary Jane was the season that Loretta Devine guest starred, where she was the lesbian who was embezzling money from Mary Jane. I think her character's name was Cece. That was the last good season. But what I will say is this movie of the closing out, the series finale, was better than the last season, which was like in 2017. We're now in 2019. We had Tracy Twinkie Bird on Kiss and Tell Radio. I asked her, I said, where the hell is the movie? Of course she didn't know, because she was the casting director for the show, but she had since moved on to other projects. But my people over at BET told me to expect it in October of 2018. And once that came and went, I'm like, Did it get shelved? Like, what's the tea with being Mary Jane? So, I'm not going to give away any spoilers. Just know that she left me. I was mad with, she's left with a decision. And of course, Mary Jane is known for questionable decisions. So yeah, check it out when you get a chance. We got the closure that we needed. It was time. It was time. Homecoming, Beyoncé. I want to start out by saying I love that Lemonade is available to those of y'all who, for whatever reason, never purchased it. It's available for streaming now on the anniversary. It just happened on April 23rd. It made 3 years since Lemonade was released, and she included the Sorry demo, which I have not been able to stop playing. The Sorry demo reminds me a lot of Chloe and Halle, but I love it. Homecoming, back to the film. I loved Homecoming, the film, but I'm one of the members of the Beehive who has had the Beachella audio in my phone since weekend one. So I didn't really, I didn't care, but I love Before I Let Go. You know, that's a song for the culture. And I love that we finally got official audio for I've Been On, which is like Beyonce, a diss record that she released 6 years ago after her first time performing at the Super Bowl. So I'm glad that we got that. My only critique, even though, you know, I rarely critique Beyonce because, I mean, mother can do no wrong, darling. But I just wanted more documentary. That's it. I'm such a fan of Life is But a Dream. That doc on HBO that she did a few years ago inspired me so much. I just love seeing Beyonce work. I love the process. I love the behind the scenes. So I would have appreciated, I mean, granted, I love the performance and how they switched from yellow to pink and all the, just visually, Homecoming is the bomb. It is stunning, right? But I just wanted personally, I wanted more behind the scenes. And I also would have loved to have seen Destiny's Child rehearsing. I'm a DC fan before anything, and I would have loved to have just seen that process and just, yes. So if you haven't checked out Homecoming for whatever reason, maybe you should tell me. Leave a comment in the comment box as to why you have been sharing a rock with Patrick Starr and living under it down in Bikini Bottom. Because how could you have not seen this by now? Next on my list is Ladies Who Punch. This is not like, I mean, I'm endorsing it just as a fan. Like Ramin Setuda didn't ask me to do this, but I really enjoyed this book. And I think that if you are a pop culture buff like me, or if you're a broadcaster like me, you'll enjoy it as well. This is the explosive inside story of The View. Now, Ramin sat down and he interviewed 11 of the co-hosts, including Star Jones, Joy Behar, Rosie O'Donnell, Debbie Menopoulos, Barbara Walters herself. And it's interesting. He also talked to 150 of the, I don't know if they're former and or current staffers. And like I said, if you're a pop culture buff, you all know I love a tell-all. My only critique with this book, since I'm critiquing everything this episode, is that I wish he would have spent more time on the Raven-Symoné, Candace Cameron Bure, Michelle Collins years. And you know he's friends with Meghan McCain. But this, I could not put this book down. I've had it for 2 weeks now, but I flew through it in 2 days. And you know, we read on this channel. You need to read this. There's only certain books that I do audiobooks for, and that's like, you know, the mother of Black Hollywood, because I need to hear Jennifer Lewis tell me her story in her words, right? Becoming, because I need to hear Forever First Lady Michelle Obama tell me her story in her words. This book is such a page turner, you won't even need the audio. I don't even know if it's him reading or if, I just read, pick up Ladies Who Punch. And it's so funny what this book has birthed in my personal life, well, professional life, but I'll maybe talk about that later. But yeah, it was a good book. Like I said, I finished it in 2 days. It's fun. I'm still gathering new reading material too. I'm trying to finish a book a month, but it's very, very hard because I experience these times where I have all the time in the world to finish a book or it collects dust. But I have a very impressive library. Moving on, did you hear about Wendy Williams? Allegedly, back January 18th, there was a wellness check performed at her house because someone called the police and said that her husband, well, estranged husband, Kevin Hunter, was poisoning her. Now, this is according to People magazine. This is what they're saying. They're saying that police went, Kevin was hesitant on letting them in. He ended up letting them into the Hunter residence where they went up and checked on Wendy for the wellness check. And Wendy was covered in a blanket from foot to neck. And when they explained to her why they were there, the allegations, they say she got teary-eyed. So all in all, I'm glad that she's gotten away from that man. She's on the other side of things right now. She seems to be really enjoying life. You know, she recently also reconciled with Charlemagne. That was reportedly a 4-hour phone conversation. They hadn't spoken in a decade, so I imagine that would take some time. Plus, who hasn't done that? I've been there before where I've reconciled, like with old friends, or there's been some sort of misunderstanding and you wind up on the phone for hours. So happy for Wendy, but that's some scary stuff. I don't know what to say about Kevin. I've been following this story ever since the Daily Mail started dropping those bombs, you know, on social media and on their website. Like, this story is one for the books for sure. And we don't know. They never said whether or not he was poisoning her, but I don't put nothing past anybody. Moving on, did you all hear about this Free Britney campaign? So there's conflicting reports. TMZ is alleging that Britney Spears is being held against her will. The story goes as Britney went into a mental facility because her father's sick and it's taking a toll on her. You all know that her father is in charge of her conservatorship. So he's sick, he's not doing well, it's been taking a mental toll on her, and Britney's last post was in January of this year where she announced that she's postponing her concert, and she went to a mental facility. But there have been reports, someone in her inner camp called into some podcast, like this Britney Spears fan podcast, and exposed the tea, and allegedly is saying that Britney's being held against her will. And then it turns out that her mama, her own mom, was liking posts on social media with the hashtag Free Britney. But then, you know, John Q. Public started bullying her family, like Jamie Lee and people who were minding their business. And Britney did a video earlier this week saying everything's fine, da, 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 da. I don't believe everything's fine, but I also, it's like, where do we toe the line? Because this is extremely invasive. But Britney, we don't know everything. Like, Britney might have something really going on, but the thought of someone being held against their will is sending chills up my spine. Like, what in the us is going on? I don't like it. So I've been like, Britney's been included in my prayers. I've been hoping that she has a good day, because I've never experienced things to that magnitude, but I feel like we all have experienced when life has weathered the storm against us. And so I just hope she bounces back soon. I want to end this video, it has to be on a somber note, discussing Muhlaysia Booker, who is a black trans woman who was in Oak Cliff, which is a neighborhood in Dallas, where she was assaulted, but stemming from a traffic incident. If I'm not mistaken, she accidentally hit someone's car and he physically assaulted her. And when he, upon discovering that she was trans, from my understanding of the story, he went even harder, and the neighborhood, no one helped. It took for cis black women to step in and kind of rectify the situation, but a lot of time had passed. Like, she had been beaten. And I'm just glad that she's not a hashtag. That's my stance as a black trans woman, because you know that we are the most affected under the LGBT umbrella when it comes to violence. And I'm just glad that Muhlaysia, despite the injuries, is still here and can share her story. So get well soon, Muhlaysia. Look into that story. Maybe I'll include a link under here. And last but not least, what's his name? Nigel Shelby of Huntsville, Alabama. He was a 15-year-old high school freshman who committed suicide because of being bullied for being gay. And this story has really just made me nauseous. The thought that this young man felt like he had nowhere to turn, he had nowhere to go. Like, the only solution was ending his life. I can't. And this is why we hold people's feet to the fire, right? This is exactly why. Because your jokes and your rhetoric, these are the ramifications. This is what happens. This is what can happen. And stories like Nigel's are all too common and becoming all too common, right? Hate crimes and bullying and things of that nature are on a rise in the United States right now. And it's just so sad. Both of these stories made me nauseous, and I've kind of had to filter the news that I've gotten with them, because I have to really kind of filter what comes across my desk, especially visually. So rest in peace, young Nigel. Praying for his family, praying for Muhlaysia's family, and we really need people who call themselves our allies to show up. That's what we need. That is what we need in 2019. We need you all to show up. In the meantime, between time, take care of yourself. That's gonna wrap up this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. One last thing, make sure you rate and subscribe, okay? All right, I'm done now, for real. Have a good day.